Honored to serve as the president for the League of Women Voters of Lower Cape Fear. On behalf of the League, I am pleased to welcome you to tonight's Leland Municipal Candidates Forum, which is being held at Leland's Cultural Arts Center, in case you didn't know where you were. This event is sponsored by both the League of Women Voters and WHQR, back here. And we are excited to bring candidates and community members for what promises to be an important and informative discussion. We deeply appreciate the willingness of the candidates to participate in tonight's forum, as well as the commitment of community members to learn more about those seeking to serve on the Leland Town Council and their perspectives on governance issues facing our town. If you are not familiar with the League, we are a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization committed to voter education, helping to ensure a well-informed electorate. The League does not endorse any candidate or political party. Tonight's forum is designed to provide the public with an opportunity to hear directly from town council candidates regarding significant community issues, with an emphasis on fairness and equal opportunity for all candidates to share their views. Our established protocol ensures that every candidate receives a range of questions and equal time to respond. All questions are reviewed in advance for appropriateness and fairness. Both candidates and members of the public were invited to submit questions ahead of this event. Before introducing our moderator, I'd like to review several ground rules for audience members. Please do silence your cell phones, if you haven't already. We ask that you refrain from applauding or otherwise demonstrating support or opposition to any candidate during the forum. Applause is encouraged at the conclusion of this event. No audio or video recording of the forum is permitted by audience members. Unauthorized recordings are not allowed, as FCC regulations require that the forum be presented in its entirety and not edited. The forum should be broadcast either live or soon after it concludes. As for how the forum is conducted, each candidate will have 2 minutes for the opening statements. Each candidate will be given 1.5 minutes to respond to questions. At the end of the forum, each candidate will have 3 minutes for a closing statement to share their vision for governing Leland. All responses will be timed by members of the League of Women Voters of Lower Cape Fear, with a timer visible to all candidates. That we are here to listen and make decisions for ourselves. That's why we are here. So it is truly important that we stick to the protocol and listen and educate ourselves and make our own determinations. At this time, I am pleased to introduce our moderator, Nikolai Mather of WHQR. Nikolai covers rural communities in Brunswick, Pender, and New Hanover counties. He is a graduate of UNC Charlotte with degrees in genocide studies and political science. Before joining WHQR, he reported on religion in Athens, Georgia, as well as local politics in Charlotte, North Carolina. So please welcome Nikolai.
I also do sound if anyone wants to hire me for their wedding or bar mitzvah or anything of that nature. Thank you so much, Julia. Thank you to everybody who came out tonight. I am honestly astonished to see this crowd of people who are interested in politics and politically motivated, getting ready to vote. It's a very crucial time of year, even though it's not a glamorous presidential election season. These kind of politics are what shape our communities, so I'm really happy to see all of y'all. I apologize also in advance if I look and sound a little bit haggard. I'm sure all of y'all have seen the devastating news coming out of Southport over the past week, and I've just been working overtime trying to make sure that that tragic story is covered, that the victims' families' voices are uplifted, and that we do our part in trying to take care of that hurting community right now, as I'm sure all of you have as well. So that's heavy on my mind tonight. I'm sure it's heavy on everybody else's minds. I just wanted to remark on that. So Leland is one of the fastest growing towns in North Carolina. It is the fastest growing town in the fastest growing county in North Carolina at last check. With growth comes both opportunity and pressure on infrastructure, housing, environment, and transparency. And tonight we'll explore how candidates plan to guide Leland's future while preserving its character and resilience. So, as stated, each candidate will have 2 minutes to introduce themselves, 1.5 minutes to remark on questions, and an opportunity to give a closing statement at the end. We'll start with opening statements, and we'll just go down a line. So, first up, I would like to ask Mr. Leland Heyer, go ahead and deliver your opening statement.
Hey, can everybody hear me okay? Good. Hey, good evening. I'm Leland Heyer. I moved to Leland several years ago and love living here. I'm an assistant principal over in Bladen County, and if you're not familiar with the area outside of Brunswick County, it's Brunswick, Columbus, and then Bladen, and we're at West Bladen High School, and come out and see us and meet the Knights. I love being an assistant principal. I love working with kids. It really is my life's calling. I decided to run for the town council really earlier this year. I'm not getting any younger, and I've always wanted to do this. I have a degree in political science from Georgia Southern University, which did not necessarily prepare me for long conversations about the fire tax or trash pickup. So I am learning a lot this year about municipal governance and thoroughly enjoying it. My vision for Leland is for so many of us, and what I hear from so many of you, is that Leland gives us a fresh start. It gives us a new opportunity. And I want it to continue to represent that for everybody here and everybody that comes here. I want it to be an opportunity, a land of opportunity. I had a college professor, maybe this is all I do remember from the bachelor's in political science, but he taught me 4 things. The real path to leadership is to listen, learn, help, and lead. That's my philosophy toward leadership, and one that I hope I'll bring to the town council. Thank you.
All right, we'll move on next to Mr. Bill McHugh. You have 2 minutes, sir.
Good evening. Can you hear me? Thank you all so much for being here tonight. My name is Bill McHugh, and for the past 4 years, I have had the honor and the privilege of serving as your town councilman. I am a husband and a father to the cutest, smartest, and sweetest little 2-year-old that I've ever met. She gets the cuteness from her mother, but she gets the smart and sweet from me. I'm an attorney by trade. I majored in political science at Florida Atlantic University, and I earned my Juris Doctor degree from St. Thomas University in Miami Gardens. I work in the field of clinical research. I do clinical contract management for clinical trials. So what we do is help get contracts and budgets negotiated for clinical trial sites so they can start enrolling patients and get these drugs to market. I've put a specialized focus on cell therapy and oncology, and I'm very, very proud of that work and the way I've seen it shape the world. 4 years ago, I decided to run for town council because I recognized that Leland was at an inflection point. One of the reasons I chose Leland was because I knew what was coming, and I knew that it was going to grow and it was going to change. But my greatest fear was that we were going to encounter this rapid growth and sort of graduate into a community that we weren't prepared for. Leland went from, a town that didn't even show up on road signs to a small town to what it is today in the blink of an eye. And I wanted to make sure that somebody came in who was fully forward-thinking and planning for the future. I ran on a platform of a safe, smart, and sustainable future with a focus on public safety, infrastructure, smart growth, and ensuring that we stay ahead of all the challenges that are coming to Leland. Because if you fall behind on things like that, you never catch up. And I believe we've done a great job of that. I'm going to talk more about these things in my conclusion, and I'm hoping the questions will give me a chance to highlight what we've done in the last 4 years and help make my case for the next. Thank you.
We'll move on now to Mr. Frank Pendleton. Mr. Pendleton, you have 2 minutes, sir.
Before I get started, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for sponsoring this event tonight. I appreciate you bringing all the candidates together and giving us the opportunity to speak to the community. I'd like to thank the fellow people that are running for this position for being here. It takes a lot of courage to put your name out there and to run for office. But most importantly, I'd like to thank the people in this room. The community has come together, and you've shown out in force to come this tonight, so I'd like to thank you for that. My name is Frank Pendleton. I was born in Florida. I obtained my bachelor's degree from Florida State University in political science and history. I obtained a master's degree in management from Indiana Institute of Technology. I've been in the business world for over 30 years. I've managed companies, I've managed budgets. I've worked in situations where I managed conflict resolution. I've brought people together, and we've worked together to manage projects and make things profitable. I decided to run for office because I'm a resident of Leland, like many of you. I own a home and I live in Brunswick Forest, and I wasn't happy with the direction of this community. I wasn't happy with the overdevelopment. I'm not happy with the clear cut and the burning by the developers. I'm not happy with the congestion and the traffic on 17 and 133. And so I decided to run for office so I could bring about change. But I need your help, because I'm not happy with the way things are. I learned a long time ago, you've got three choices when you're not happy. You can keep your mouth shut, you can sit back and complain, or you can do something about it. And I've chose to do something about it. And I'm going to be the champion for change, and I'm going to bring the power back to the people of this community.
We'll move on now. Last but not least, Ms. Susan Waleed, you have 2 minutes, ma'am.
Okay, good evening. I want to thank the League of Women Voters and WHPR for having this forum, and also want to thank you for attending this forum. This forum is very, very important because there's been a lot of changes in the community. And with that, I want to introduce myself. My name is Susan Waleed. I'm originally from New Jersey. I've been married for 39 years. I have an associate's in science, and I have a bachelor's from Rutgers University in science. When we first came down here 10 years ago, slow paced, and within that 10 years we saw a lot of changes and a lot of things that have started to bother me. The overbuilding, the infrastructure, the strain on our infrastructure, the open burning, and the encroachment on the environment. And I know that you have a lot of questions about how we're going to move forward with all those things. And I want to be able to ease your mind and give you answers to those questions. My vision of Leland was for it to continue to thrive, but I wanted to thrive as not an infringement on the residents. So I'm looking for help from the community. I'm willing, open to listen so that we all can move this town forward together. And I'm hoping that I can earn your vote. Thank you.
All right, we will now move on to the 8 questions that we have selected for this debate. As stated before, a lot of these are civilian submitted. So these concern a number of different concerns, topics, issues that y'all see in the town of Leland, and how local elected officials can help. Each candidate will have a minute and a half to answer these questions, so try to keep brevity in mind, y'all. We'll start out with number 1, and we'll go to Mr. Bill McHugh first. Transparency and openness are considered important qualities for elected government officials. In what ways would you seek to improve transparency within the council? You have 1.5 minutes.
It's an excellent question, thank you. You know, in local government and all levels of government, everything is considered public record, right? But that doesn't live up to the standard of being transparent. Making it accessible and understandable is where the true transparency comes in. We've taken a lot of strides on that over the past couple of years. We updated the town's website to make it more navigable. You know, we record the council meetings, which will resume once we're back in the council chambers. Those are all on the town website, so if you're unable to attend, you can go back and watch them. You can just watch the sections you are if you don't want to sit through the hours and hours of boring parts. We're also working on developing an app that's going to be rolled out this year that's going to consolidate everything into one area so you can get it via push notifications and make it a one-stop shop for everything that's going on in town. One thing I've done is I have gone out of my way to always be available I'm sure you'll all see me out at community events. I'm quick to talk to everyone, and I was saying up here to some of the candidates today, I have never hung up on anyone, and I have never ended a conversation, right? Everybody else gets bored of listening to me go on and on and on and finds a way to walk away. And I think it's important. I've made some videos where I've attempted to highlight things that are going on, explain my perspective, explain what's going on in a fact-based manner. I think the world needs more of that. We are constantly bombarded with information and misinformation, and going to the folks in your government should be your first stop, not necessarily going to places like next door.
Thank you, sir. We'll move on next to Mr. Frank Pendleton. Mr. Pendleton, in what ways would you seek to improve transparency within the council?
You know, I think transparency is one of those interesting words that gets bannered around at election time. People talk about transparency 2 or 3 months beforehand because it suddenly becomes important. But what happens the other 3 years and 9 months? Do the people really feel involved? I mean, you have to ask your own self that. Do you feel like the information has been made readily available? Do you feel like when you come to the town council meetings that you are listened to, that your voice is heard, that your voice is respected, and that your voice is taken into consideration before the vote is actually cast? In many cases, I think not. I think transparency for me is more than just supplying information after the fact. Transparency to me means involving the people of the community. Transparency for me means going to the people and discussing with you the issues that are before the council and asking your opinion. Because at the end of the day, the council works for the community. The town manager works at the request of the council, but the council works for the voters. And I expect that I will bring that type of transparency to the people of this community.
Thank you, sir. We'll move on now to Ms. Waleed. I'm gonna ask if everybody try to hold your applause to the very end. We have a tight ship that we have to run. So we'll move on now to Ms. Waleed. Ms. Waleed, in what ways would you seek to improve transparency within the council? You have 1.5 minutes, ma'am.
Okay, more transparency in the council would be, I've been hearing people complaining about not having enough time to voice their concerns when there are the meetings. So I think we need to have more time for the people to voice their concerns at the meetings to get their point across, because sometimes it's 30 seconds, that's not enough time to let the council know how you're feeling and what concerns you have. Also, they have a website, which you can voice your concerns on the website. You need to get out in the public, let your face and your voice be seen by the residents of this town, to let them know that we truly, truly are interested and we truly are concerned with how you're feeling, and to try to put your mind at ease that we're all in this together and we all want the same thing, for this town to thrive and to move forward in a positive way.
Thank you, ma'am. We'll move on now to Mr. Leland. Mr. Heyer, in what ways would you seek to improve transparency within the council?
Thank you, Nikolai. I'll tell you one thing I wouldn't do, and that is I wouldn't take the meetings that have been recorded off the council's YouTube website. I think that this council needs to broadcast their business, and I think they should have left those up. They should have never been taken down, and they're not easy to find now on the council's website. I thought that was a mistake. I didn't think that was a direction and the right step towards transparency. And I did hear the explanation, I won't go into it, that they gave for removing those, and I just didn't think it was the right thing. I think that the meetings need to be broadcast. You guys should be able to see what comments are made at the meetings, and I'm not talking about reading a transcription. And you should also be able to hear the council members when they're at the meeting. We've had some meetings recently. I understand that we had to go off-site and we couldn't be in town hall, but we couldn't hear. I sat right over there. We could not hear the people on the town council that were right here supposedly speaking to us. We had to bring the microphone closer. That's what I didn't like. I would like to see town hall type meetings. I would like to see two-way communication. I'd like to see breaks between issues so that council members can can walk out and talk with, so that council members can go out and talk with the people who have come to listen to the issues.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.